A warm welcome to you. This is OGTV News. Thanks so much for joining us. To our Muslim brothers and sisters, happy Eid al-Fitr celebration. Now the highlights of the news. I am Bukola Agbakisu. President Tinubu, Governor Abeokuta felicitates Muslims as Eid al-Fitr is observed all over the world. Federal government to introduce emergency economic bill to increase non-oil revenue. UN agency warns over 25 million people facing humanitarian crisis with no end in sight in Sudan conflict. World Athletics set to be first international federation to award prize money at Olympic Games. As we rejoice in the spirit of Eid al-Fitr, let's cherish the moment spent with our loved ones and make memories to last a lifetime. Eid Mubarak. And don't forget that you can watch us live on these platforms: Apple, Roku, Facebook, and Android devices. You can also watch us live on OGTV website www.ogtv.com.ng/live or email info@ogtv.com.ng. Now the news in full. President Bola Tinubu has urged Nigerians to remain patriotic citizens and continue to have faith in his government in its bid to lead the country to greatness. This was the message of the president as he attended Eid al-Fitr prayers at the Dodan Barracks, Lagos. 30 days of religious obligations and supplications in the month of Ramadan ended with Eid prayers. President Bola Tinubu implored Nigerians to protect the dignity of the country. The coming first was the 2 Rakat prayers led by the Chief Imam of Lagos State. The sermon of the Chief Imam coincidentally reflected the appreciation of the President as he urged Nigerians to shun all acts of violence, ensure peaceful coexistence, and continue to have faith in the country. He challenged those in leadership positions to remain faithful in their oath of office and work towards alleviating the plight of the less privileged. Faithful are the privilege of presidential handshake, and the president wants Muslims and indeed all Nigerians to maintain spirit of patriotism and be ready to play their role in the project Nigeria.
The kind of resilience, sacrifice, endurance that we have, we should preserve that for the country. Be kind and be cheerful giver. Love our country better than any other country. That's the only one that we have. And we must continue to protect the integrity of our government and leadership.
Assured Nigerians that his agenda will not fail them.
Hope is alive, well and fine, and Nigerians will continue to be very hopeful. Without hope, there's no salvation. Without hope, there's no development. Without hope, there's no life.
Earlier, there were prayers for God's guidance, wisdom and protection for the President, Lagos State, as well as peace and stability of the country. Muslims across the country have been admonished to continue in prayers for the current administration at all levels in Nigeria, most especially at this trying time of the economy. Governor Abeokuta made the plea at the Eid al-Fitr prayers held at the Lantoro praying ground to mark the end of the 30-day Ramadan fasting. Bumi Adegun, who covered the Eid prayers, reports that the government will continue with the distribution of food palliatives to all who observed the prayers. His reports.
What a better way to end a 30 days fasting and prayer by Muslims across Nigeria and the world. As Ogun State Governor Prince Abeokuta continues with the distribution of palliatives to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal by the federal government, and the people here are being given food palliatives, a gift for the Ramadan. For all who observed this year's prayers at the Lantoro prayer ground in Abeokuta, they did not only go home with the blessings of Ramadan, but also food gift courtesy of the Ogun State government, which is in continuation of the ongoing palliative distribution. The Chief Imam of Egbaland, Alhaji Sheikh Sadat Bangbola, led the prayers as usual. The message was apt and straight to the point, and not different from the yearly message as to all to continue to live in piety as they have done in the last 30 days. The Governor of Ogun State, Prince Abeokuta, was represented by the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Honorable Gani Hamzat, charged all to be steadfast and continue to pray for the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Governor Abeokuta-led administrations.
Ramadan teaches us so many things. First of all, you must believe that during Ramadan, you continue to pray, you continue to supplicate for Allah's intervention in any kind of problem. And that is what I will enjoin our brothers to continue to do, because we believe strongly this religious country, so as I can say, and I believe that within the last 1 month, in this month of spiritual renewal, I believe Almighty Allah will continue to answer our prayers. We must be patient. There is nothing that can be resolved within a very just 1 year. When our father, the president, will assume office, yes, I agree, things have been so hard, but let us continue to exercise patience.
Other eminent Nigerians who joined in observing this year's Eid al-Fitr prayers were optimistic that tomorrow is going to be great under the current administration.
The economic crunch is global, and the president has been doing enough to alleviate the suffering of Nigeria with so many other projects and programs.
Imbibe the lessons of Ramadan, sharing with people, abstain from food and drinks, so that you also appreciate what the have-nots go through.
Over 500 Muslim faithful benefited from the food palliatives distributed by the government. Bumi Adigun, OGTV News.
Similarly, in other Eid grounds in the state, Muslims trooped out to observe the end of Ramadan prayers and equally went home with food palliative from the state government. The Eid grounds were in Ijebu-Ode, Iperu, Ikene, Shagamu and Ilaro. Details of these are in this package.
The chief imam of Ikene Muslim community, Alhaji Hussein Kende, described the various interventions of the Ogun State Governor, Prince Abeokuta, which include Educash, free surgery program and food palliative as genuine and well thought out initiatives which had been reducing the prevalent economic crunch in the state. Alhaji Hussein Kende, during the distribution of food palliative to Muslim faithfuls in the town during the Eid al-Fitr prayers, he described Governor Abeokuta as an agent of comfort, tranquility, an embodiment of love, and an advocate of religious harmony. Appreciating the governor on behalf of the community, the chairman of the Muslim community, Chief Kayode Shofela, represented by the Seriki Adini of Ikene, Chief Adekunle Shofela, and the Secretary General, Chief Isiaka Okonoga, submitted that the generosity was apt at this time of auspicious time, especially when people are looking for succor either from government or individual. Expressing their satisfaction towards the distribution of the rice palliative, Alhaji Shegun Saulat and Ibrahim Adamu, a disabled Hausa man, commended the present administration and the state for being committed to the initiatives that engender individual prosperity.
We really appreciate His Excellency for what he's doing for us. We really appreciate him for remembering the local people, the people that matters. He has never forgotten sons and daughters of Benin, even in his consideration for appointment into political offices.
At Ijebu, the Central Idel Prayer Ground, chairman of the local government, Honorable Babatunde Emilola Gazal, said the distribution of the palliatives was timely as it would enable people to celebrate the 2024 Eid al-Fitr with sufficient food on their table. Similarly, consultant to the governor on media, Comrade Tunde Oladunjoye, pointed out that the gesture was a fulfillment of the promise made by Governor Dapo Abiodun to cushion the effect of the economic hardship on the people of the state. Some of the beneficiaries stated that the donation will go a long way to cushion the effect of the economic hardship on them. In Ikene, chairman of the local government, Honorable Segun Ogunleye, described Governor Dapo Abiodun as a manager of resources, noting that through him smiles have been radiating the face of the people.
On behalf of Ikene local government, a group of people of Ikene local government, we want to seize this opportunity to appreciate His Excellency Prince Dapo Abiodun for bringing feet to give palliative to our Muslim community.
Applauding the present administration in the state, the chief imam of the community, Alhaji Musileddin Mustafa, said the donations will give relief to the people, saying if others can emulate it, people will not be under the pressure of survival. It was the same story for a resident of Ilaro in US South local government, as Governor Dapo Abiodun-led administration gave food palliatives to Muslims at Eid al-Fitr prayer ground. Chairman of the local government, Honorable Latif Salami, while appreciating Prince Dapo Abiodun for the kind gesture, said the year 2024 Eid al-Fitr prayer would remain a memorable one and be a relief to the needy.
The people of Ogun State have been urged to continue in the spirit of Ramadan by continually praying for the mercy and grace of Allah, especially during this period the country is facing economic hardship. The Deputy Governor of Ogun State, Engineer Noimot Salako Ojudele, made the plea at this year's Eid al-Fitr prayer held at the Altar Central Eid Ground. She confirmed that the present administration in the state, under the leadership of Prince Dapo Abiodun, is doing everything within its powers to ensure that the effects of the hardship is minimized on its citizenry.
So there are lots of initiatives that this government has to ease temporarily the economic hardships pending the actualization of the macroeconomic policies of the federal government, which will be cascaded right down to everybody. Celebrating
Eid al-Fitr with the people of Abeokuta local government, the governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, extended hands of support to faithful at the Adodo Central Eid Ground, which many described as a right step in the right direction. Honorable Abdulrashid Kashamu, Minority Whip of Ogun State House of Assembly, has distributed food palliatives to 3,000 residents of Ijebu. This is in continuation of his late father's legacy, late Senator Buruji Kashamu, towards bringing succor to the people as part of activities celebrating the Eid al-Fitr.
It was another Eid al-Fitr celebration in Ijebu, and the residents benefited from the annual late Senator Buruji Kashamu Empowerment Program, sponsored by his son, Honorable Abdulrashid Kashamu, Minority Whip of Ogun State House of Assembly. The over 3,000 residents of Ijebu who converged on his residence received food palliatives and financial empowerment. According to him, the present economic hardship in the country is affecting Nigerians negatively. Hence, the need for the food palliatives and financial empowerment of residents of Ijebu to cushion the effect of economic hardship.
Behind it is that it's something we've been doing for years. It actually started from my late dad, Senator Buriji Kasham. We usually reach out to 3,000 to 4,000 families. And the purpose of that is to feed the people. These are trying times in Nigeria, in Ogun State. People are suffering, and then if you have the means, it is always good to give a handout and let the people feel the impact.
Some of the beneficiaries could not hide their joy for the gesture. Honorable Abu Rashid Kashanu earlier in the day joined Muslims at Ijebu praying ground to observe Eid prayer, where prayers were said for the peace and progress of Nigeria, Ogun State and Ijebu land. It was another Eid al-Fitr celebration.
Still on the Eid al-Fitr celebration, Muslim Ummah today observed the 2 Rakat prayers to mark end of this year's Ramadan with a call for steadfastness and love to one another. From Bagura prayer ground, the chief imam, Professor Kamaldeen Balogun, enjoined faithful not to deviate from the lessons learned during Ramadan. At Saadatu Abadia Central Mosque, Abeokuta, the Muslim community celebrated Eid al-Fitr with thanksgiving, just as Muslims also gathered at Ansaruddin Central Mosque at Titotun, Abeokuta for prayers. Details are in this package.
After 30 days of fasting with special prayers, the Muslim community gathered at different Eid grounds to offer thanksgiving to Allah for witnessing this year's Ramadan. At the Bagura prayer ground, adherents in their colorful dress converged to offer prayers signaling completion of Ramadan. The chief imam of Bagura, Professor Kamaldeen Balogun, led the 2 Rakat prayers. In his sermon, Professor Balogun stood for continued love, identifying with the less privileged and total submission to the will of Allah.
Once they remember that they are answerable to God, they will know how to discharge their responsibility adequately to us.
From Saadatu Abadia Central Mosque, Abeokuta, the story was not different as Muslim Ummah marked the end of Ramadan with 2 Rakat prayers. Leaving the sermon, the chief imam Saadatu Abadia, Ismail Abdul Latif, focused on the verge of the holy month, reminding those in position of authorities to govern with fear of Allah. It was a moment of joy and thanksgiving as Muslims observed prayers at the Ansaruddin Central Mosque at Titotun, Abeokuta, to thank Allah for seeing them through the period of fasting for 30 days. Leading the prayers, State Missioner of Ansaruddin Society of Nigeria, Alhaji Yunus Odekunle, tasked all not to derail from all teachings imbibed during the holy month.
Every Muslim who are able to fast for 30 days, they try to keep their promise, their dues, everything they are doing during Ramadan, immediately after the Ramadan. We have been seeing how to live it. We have been fighting, we try to live it. We have been doing something bad, try to follow it after the Ramadan.
To commemorate the Eid Fitr celebration, Ogun State government distributed food items to the faithful at Saadatu Abadia Central Mosque, Abeokuta. They all departed in different directions to continue the celebration, hoping to gather for the next Ramadan.
And just coming in, Ogun State Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun has admonished Nigerians to have hope for a better Nigeria with prayers from both Christian and Muslim faithful. Governor Abiodun made this known during a celebration to mark the end of Eid al-Fitr in his country home, Ipero, where he ensured that with the various interventions by both the federal and state governments, Nigerians will soon come out of the current economic predicament. Governor's office correspondent Yusuf Ganion reports.
Governor Abeokuta acknowledging the support of religious bodies to the success of his administration, even as he preached love, understanding, unity and peaceful coexistence among the people of the state.
A season of self-discipline, a season of prayer to the Almighty God, a season of forgiveness, a season of religious tolerance between Christians and Muslims, a season where without a doubt the Almighty God has answered and is answering all our prayers.
Called on Muslims to let the lessons of the holy month of Ramadan, including patience, self-discipline, love for one another and kindness, guide their daily lives.
The same way we've denied and deprived ourselves the last 30 days, the same way we've been full of prayers for the benevolence of the Almighty God, the same way we've been filled with the spirit of forgiveness for those who have offended us, the same way that we've chosen to live a life of impact by giving freely to those that are less privileged. Let us continue the same passion. Let us continue the same passion. Let us continuously be forgiven, kind-hearted, prayerful, live a life of abstinence from that which is unnecessary.
While appreciating Governor Abeokuta for his leadership role, some imams reflect that the lesson learned throughout the holy month of Ramadan must be a guiding principles and allow the spirit of Ramadan fast to guide their actions towards compassion, kindness, and understanding.
I would say our governor is the Lord chosen governor for us. It's a blessing from above, a divine blessing indeed, for us to make a difference in the state. And ever since has assumed duty, he has been performed tremendously.
And also, we are just done with the Ramadan 2024. But what is the cogent reason of Ramadan? Takulai, which is the fearing of God. Àti Mùsùlùmí o, àti Kìrìsìtẹ́nì o, àti ẹni tí kì í ṣe Mùsùlùmí o, gómìnà jẹ́ni tó ń ṣe dáadáa sí gbogbo wa, wọ́n ń bá wa yọ àjọyọ̀ ọdún. The
League of Imams and Afas in the 4th Division of the state prayed for the progress of the state and Nigeria at large. Palliative was also distributed to the people of Iperu community amidst Eid al-Fitr celebration. Yusuf Ganiyu, OGTV News.
For the Muslim Umar at Obafe, Ayepe and Ayetoro, it was time to observe 2 rakat prayers in commemoration of the Eid al-Fitr celebration. The clerics at the Eid grounds emphasized the need for faithful to regularly live and hold the lessons of the holy month for peaceful cohabitation. Details of the Eid prayers are in this package.
The holy month of Ramadan, during which the Muslim faithful observe fasting and intensive prayers, is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. In the last 30 days, adherents in obedience to the words of Allah abstained from food and drinks to move closer to their Creator. Now Ramadan is over and it is time to celebrate. From Obafe Eid ground, Imam Bashir Jimo harped on the need for all to be righteous, tolerant and pious even after Ramadan.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Agbìyànjú láti máa ṣe dáadáa ká ṣe nínú ìdáná lẹ́yìn gbogbo àwọn ìwà tí ò dá ó ti lọ ká fi sílẹ̀ nínú oṣù a máa tún padà síbẹ̀ mọ́ nítorí pé ọ̀nà Muhammad ó jẹ́ bóyá bí ẹni tí ó bá dẹ́ṣẹ̀ tó túbá tí ó wàá padà sínú ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ náà Ọlọ́run wá ti bá fọ kùjẹkùjẹ lẹ́kàn ṣùgbọ́n tó bá tún padà sínú ẹ̀ ó tún dàbí gẹ́gẹ́ ní tó lọ pé ìbí ẹ̀jẹ̀ rẹ̀.
Is said to build a viral nation. It is the responsibility of everyone to live in peace. At Ayepe Central Mosque, the Chief Imam Sheikh Shafiriyu Awosoya reminded the faithful of the significance of Ramadan by giving to one another and fear Allah in all they do.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Léètí ìgbàgbọ́ wa bá dúró. Báwo ṣe tún lọ yìí ìrun kíkí wa láti máa lọ déédéé bá ṣe ń gbààwẹ̀.
Sheikh Awosoya wanted them to let the lessons of Ramadan reflect in their daily undertakings. The Chief Imam Ayetoro Central Mosque, Alhaji Abdul Ganiyu Ilyas Ajakore, calls for more calm and patience from Nigerians in general and Muslim faithful in particular to allow government at all levels deliver on their promises for a better nation.
Nínú oṣù yìí nínú oṣù Ramadan tó kọjá yẹn táwọn ń tẹ̀lé sùúrù tọ́lọ́wọ́ bá ní ká ṣe ká ń ṣe sùúrù yẹn títí ká ẹ̀kọ́ sí nǹkan ṣẹṣẹ tó wọ́n ṣẹṣẹ fún irú ẹni bẹ́ẹ̀ tó ju àlìjẹ́nà lọ.
Imam Ajakore encourages faithful to be more prayerful even beyond Ramadan.
Similarly, there were either fitri prayers at St. John Primary School, Kuto, Gateway Secondary School, Owu, and Bode Olude Central Mosque. Details in this package.
Chief Imam of Kuto, Alhaji Abdulmuiz Bello, leading the Eid prayer at St. John's Primary School, Kuto, Abeokuta. Alhaji Abdulmuiz admonished Muslims to continue in their good deeds, usual supplication, and daily prayers even after Ramadan, while doing their best to promote peace, progress, and development of their immediate environment.
Ẹ ṣọ́ra níbi wíwá orogún fọ́lọ́run ọba nítorí eléyìí ní ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tó ga jùlọ. Àlìjẹ́nnà tá ń pọ̀ lówó ẹ̀ tá ń pẹ́ afẹ́ wọ̀nyẹn Ọlọ́run ló wà ń ṣe léèwọ̀ fún ẹni bá ti bá òun wá orogún.
Bola Shakin of Egba, Olotu Abdulateef Adenekan, and some of the faithful expressed appreciation to God for the opportunity to witness another Ramadan. Muslims converged at Gateway Secondary School, Owu, early in the morning as the Eid prayer was led by the Chief Imam, Alhaji Kehinde Korede, who encouraged Muslims to sustain the act of giving Lent during Ramadan. Olewu of Owu, Oba Sakama Temilola, who was part of the Eid prayers, used the opportunity to ask the people for their prayers and support for the government. The Eid prayer was also observed by faithful at Sheikh Sugar Central Mosque, Bode Olude. Chief Imam of Bode Olude Central Mosque, Sheikh Abdulateef Shoboale, advised faithful to pay closer attention to their worship and good deeds even after Ramadan. The faithful also use the opportunity to pray for Ogun State and the nation. Matthew Showme, OGTV News.
The significance of Ramadan must reflect in the lives of Muslims. This formed part of sermons delivered at the various Eid prayer grounds covered by OGTV News. Grand Chief Imam of Remoland, Fadila Sheikh Abdul Qadir of Janadu, and Chief Imam Abdul Wali Aigoro, who led this year's prayers at Shagamu Central Mosque, Isaleoko, and at Dato prayer grounds, while felicitating faithful, admonished all to celebrate in moderation. Details of the report are presented in this package.
Islamic faithful, after a successful completion of a 30 days fast, converged on various Eid prayer grounds to give thanks to Almighty Allah for witnessing 2024 Eid al-Fitr celebration. Grand Chief Imam Remoland Fadilat Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jinodu, who led other faithful in prayer at Shagamu Central Mosque, Isaleoko, admonished them to continue to follow the tenets of Islam and teachings of Prophet Muhammad to direct their day-to-day activities. He added that During the 30 days fast, there were some unholy activities which were shunned by Muslim faithful, encouraged all to do away with them by becoming a new creature. Things were not different at Adaton praying ground, as hundreds of faithful gathered to celebrate with one another, with the prayer led by Chief Imam Abdulwali Aigoro, the Chief Imam Ahmadiyya Nural Islam. In his sermon, Chief Imam Aigoro said Muslims should behave in the right way as directed by Prophet Muhammad. Ogun State Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun seized the opportunity of the season to reach out to Muslim faithful in Shagamu as palliatives were given out to people. This gesture was well appreciated by the beneficiaries, who thanked Governor Dapo Abiodun for the initiative.
Meanwhile, adherents of Islamic faith have again been admonished to keep praying fervently for a continuous progress and restoration of peace in Nigeria. This formed part of messages delivered by Muslim clerics as faithful converged on Ogiri, Agoiwoye and Ikpero prayer grounds to observe this year's Eid al-Fitr.
After the completion of a 30 days of Ramadan fasting, Muslim faithfuls in Ogiri, Agoiwoye and Ikperu have joined the rest of the world in celebration of Eid al-Fitr. In their separate messages, the Chief Imam of Ogiri, Sheikh Musbaudin Salako, Imam Ali Shitu, the Chief Imam Agoiwoye, and the Chief Imam Ikperu Remo Muslim Community, Alhaji Forora Fasasi, submitted that prayers remain the only antidote needed by Nigerian nation to overcome its many challenges, especially in the face of the current economic hardship.
àánú láàrin tí wọ́n dé ọlọ́run àwọn náà gbọ́dọ̀ ṣàánú bákan náà sọ fún wa pé oṣù tọ́lọ́run ló ń fẹ́ fọwọ́ mọ́ ni a ti ṣe gba àwọn ohun tí a fi ráfọ̀ mọ́ gbogbo ohun tí a jìnnà sí nínú oṣù yìí tá a súnmọ́ nínú àwọn ìwà tí ò dáa ká parọ́ ká jẹ tí ò yẹ ká jẹ ká mú tí ò yẹ ká mú kọ́ bá ń yẹ ká ta sákò ń bẹ̀ níṣe ni a gbọ́dọ̀ tó dáyé lọ síbẹ̀ nígbà tí ọmọdé bá ti sán.
While also calling for unity of purpose in upholding the teachings of Islam during Ramadan, clerics urged Muslims to continue with all the good deeds exhibited in the holy month of Ramadan.
2024 OGBC Eid al-Fitr Children Picnic comes up on Thursday, 11th April 2024. According to a statement by Benga Oshidele, coordinator of the Eid al-Fitr Children Picnic, the annual event will hold at the OGBC Head Office, Ibara Housing Estate, Abeokuta, starting at 9 in the morning. The occasion will have, among other invited guests, the Olowo of Owu Kingdom, Oba Sakama Temilola, who will be the real father of the day, while Elijah Tajuddin Olori and Elijah Adebise Dinsere will be the chairman and chairperson of the occasion. Still ahead in the news, NAFDAC recalls children cough syrup over deadly toxicity. More news and reports after this break. To stay with us. Thanks for joining us again. The federal government has revealed plans to introduce an emergency economic bill to boost its revenue from the no-oil sector in Nigeria. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, disclosed this during his presentation at the Lagos Business School Breakfast Club recently. The minister said the bill was necessary to fully utilize the country's non-oil assets, estimated to be between 80 trillion naira and 100 trillion naira, and are currently being mismanaged. According to him, the federal government is finalizing an emergency economic bill which will in part enhance non-oil revenue. Edun further noted that Nigeria can easily earn 10 trillion naira annually via efficient management of its non-oil assets. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu has said that power distribution companies discuss that fails to supply 20 hours of electricity to customers in band A category will be sanctioned by the federal government. Adelabu said this is part of the adjustment made under the newly revised tariff system, which is targeted at electricity consumers under the band A category. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission recently increased the electricity tariffs of customers under band A category from 66 kilowatts to 225 kilowatts. He said band A customers are those electricity users who enjoy power supply for a minimum of 20 hours daily. Nigeria's National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has ordered the recall of a children's cough syrup after laboratory analysis shows that the drug contains toxic compounds. NAFDAC said Berlin pediatric syrup manufactured by Johnson & Johnson contained alarming levels of diethylene glycol. Berlin pediatric syrup is commonly used for alleviating cough and its associated symptoms, as well as treating high fever and other allergic conditions in children aged 2 to 12. The affected batch of the syrup was manufactured in South Africa by Johnson & Johnson in Cape Town, South Africa in May 2021 and was imported to the Nigerian market. And from Rivers State, the state governor, Siminalayi Fubara, has raised the alarm that 75% of primary schools in the state do not have teachers, while 90% are dilapidated. Fubara, who described the condition of primary schools as troubling, said his administration was focused on turning around the fortunes of education, health, and agriculture in the state. The governor, in a statement by his Chief Press Secretary, Nelson Chukwudi, explained that he became aware of the deplorable state of the primary schools when a firm, New Global, visited the state for partnership. He said the firm came to partner with his administration to enhance the capacity of teachers, but he asked them to perform field assessment of the personnel that they intended to train. Fubara said the report from the field was very disappointing because the firm did not find the number of teachers to undergo the training for the benefit of Rivers children. Funeral arrangements for the pioneer Bishop of Ijebu-Daose's Anglican Communion, Right Reverend Dr. Solomon Kukbono, is as follows. Wednesday, 10th April through Sunday, 14th April 2024, there will be visitations by different associations, societies, and organizations to the Bishop's Court, Ijebu North Diocese, with songs of tribute scheduled for Friday, 12th April 2024 by 5 in the evening at BAHM Church, Lagos State. Monday, 15th April, diocesan service of songs holds by 3 in the afternoon at the Bishop's Court, Ijebu North Diocese. Lioness Day comes up on Tuesday, 16th April, between 8 and 10 in the morning at the Bishop's Court, while commendation service follows at 11 in the morning at the Cathedral of St. Matthew Ojowo. There will be night of tribute on Wednesday, 17th April at the Cathedral of St. Thomas Badagry by 4 in the evening. Thursday, 18th April, Christian Week comes up by 4 in the evening at the Cathedral of St. Thomas Badagry. Funeral service holds on Friday, 19th April at 10 in the morning at Cathedral of St. Thomas Badagry, while Thanksgiving service comes up on Sunday, 21st April by 10 in the morning at the Cathedral of St. Thomas Badagry. The Right Reverend Dr. Solomon Kukbono was born on the 22nd of January 1957 and died on the 15th of February 2024. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we have business news for you. For joining us. The World Bank has estimated that Nigeria's inflation rate will drop to around 24.8% this year and further to 15.1% by 2026. It noted that the projected decline was premeditated on monetary policy, tightening and exchange rate stabilization in Nigeria. The World Bank, in its latest publication entitled African Pulse, detailed the issues shaping African economies in 2024 and beyond, noting that reforms will spur growth in Nigeria. The global lender specified that the non-oil sector will see slow growth unless adequate structural reforms are put in place. It stated growth in Nigeria is projected at 3.3% in 2024 and 3.6% in 2025 to 2026 as macroeconomic and fiscal reforms gradually start to yield results. Structural reforms will be needed to foster area. The report noted that Nigeria's growth projects are too low when compared with its peers across West and Central Africa. Nigeria's first publicly listed power company, Abeokuta Power, released its first quarter earnings for 2024, showing a revenue of 50.4 billion naira. This was approximately 3.5 times the 14.2 billion naira revenue posted in the same period last year. Abeokuta Power is an early flyer as it became the first publicly quoted company to report its first quarter earnings for 2024. The company followed up this impressive top-line performance with an even better bottom-line profitability growth. Its pre-tax profit for the period under review rose an astonishing 313% from just 5.3 billion naira in the same period last year to 21.9 billion naira this quarter. The exchange rate for clearance of goods and import duties assessment by the Nigeria Customs Service (NCS) has dropped from 1,246.66 per dollar to 1,238.17 to the USD. This represents a decline of 6.14 in the past 2 days. The current customs exchange rate falls below the official market rate of the MGN to the USD. The Naira closed at 1,248.5 per dollar on the official NAFEM window. CBN's latest effort in stabilizing the FX market, the consistent drop in the customs exchange rate in the past few weeks reflects the strengthening of the Naira during the period. It also reflects the impact of the CBN reforms since the beginning of the year on the value of the Naira in the forex market. This week, the CBN doubled down on its effort to strengthen the value of the Naira by selling forex to Bureau de Change operators at 1,101 per dollar and warned them to sell at 1.5% spread. This figure meant that BDSAs were to sell forex at 1.117 per dollar, significantly below the official market rate of the NAFEM window. The National Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, NACIMA, has formally approached the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Olawale Edun, with a request for the urgent disclosure of the 2024 government fiscal policy. This move was made in a letter signed by the National President of NACIMA, Dele Calvin Oye, underscores the critical need for a stable economic framework to guide investment and business decisions in Nigeria. NACIMA commends the government's initiatives on fiscal and tax policy reforms, including the formation of Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee in August 2023. There is growing concern among business leaders about the delayed release of a comprehensive fiscal policy for the upcoming year. NACIMA emphasized that reliable fiscal and monetary policies are vital for the private sector to make informed decisions and plans strategically. Now to the foreign segment of the news. A public hospital in Kenya's capital Nairobi has laid off 100 doctors who have taken part in a nationwide strike that has been ongoing for almost a month. As the conflict in Sudan nears its one-year mark, the UN Refugee Agency is warning that over 25 million people are facing a humanitarian crisis with no end in sight. and a major landmark in North Macedonia has been reduced to ashes after a mysterious fire. Details of these are in this package.